Well, hello and welcome to This Week at Little Hills. I'm so glad to be with you on this very hot day. It is hot, isn't it? As I heard the forecast for this week, I really didn't quite know what to expect. We've had forecasts of really hot temperatures throughout this summer, and then it doesn't end up being as hot as predicted. We end up getting rain, or it's really cloudy, or what have you, but it is hot. We don't necessarily expect that, though, when we hear a forecast, or if they say it's going to rain, we don't necessarily expect the rain and so on, because even if we might say the weather is faithful, our understanding of it, our ability to forecast it, isn't necessarily all that faithful. As we continue in our series looking at the opposites of the fruit of the Spirit, we come to the aspect of faithfulness and its negative, unfaithfulness. And so often in our own human nature, we're like our attempts to forecast the weather. Sometimes we hit it dead on and we say it's going to be hot and it's really hot and we think, wow, am I faithful? I'm doing what God's called me to do. But then we stray right again. Romans chapter 3, bugs are also faithful. They're very good at attacking and biting. We might say that's faithful. Anyway, Romans chapter 3, verse 3, it says, "True, some of them were unfaithful," referring to the Jews. "But just because they were unfaithful, does that mean God will be unfaithful?" Paul presents a very interesting question there, because in that first part of Romans, he's developed two forms of unfaithfulness that he wants us to think about. The first is our general willingness to stray from God. We see that in chapter 1. But then in chapter 2, he talks specifically about the chosen people that God had called, Israel, and how they had been unfaithful as well. That brings us to that question. If human beings are unfaithful, if even God's chosen people are unfaithful, will God likewise be unfaithful? Of course, the answer is no. God will be faithful. And so when we think about the fruit of the Spirit and that aspect of faithfulness in contrast to our own unfaithfulness, what are we reminded of? That as God works in us, he doesn't take people who are faithful and use them for spectacular things. Rather, faithfulness itself, our ability to be faithful both to God and to human beings, is a gift from God. He's the one that brings it out. Where are you struggling this week to be faithful to your commitments to other people and to God? Where am I struggling? This bug is not struggling in its commitment to be faithful to biting me, but where are you struggling? Where am I struggling? Let's think about that. And then as we do, let's not look to our own strength. Let's not say, well, if I just try harder, like this bug is trying harder to bite me, if I just try harder to be faithful, I'll be able to be faithful. Let's say, God, I want your Spirit to work in me in this way. Will you help me where I can't be faithful? We're going to be thinking more about that in just a couple of days as we gather together for Sunday worship. We are in the book of Revelation this week as we continue to ramble throughout Scripture looking at God's grace. Because indeed how he brings out faithfulness and his call to faithfulness, it's all pointing to God's grace. And so I hope that you will join us on Sunday as we gather together, whether in person or online, for worship. I can't wait to share that with you. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and I'll see you again very soon.